Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create custom handler interceptor in SpringBoot in 3 steps. Step 1, we will look at how to create a general purpose interceptor which intercept on all sorts of requests. Step 2, we're going to look at how can we create a single purpose interceptor which only intercept on specific requests matching specific URL pattern. Step 3, we'll look at what's the difference between interceptor and a filter, which is undoubtedly one of the most frequently asked interview questions. Before we start though, for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Jasper. I make videos on full stack technologies such as Spring Boot. So if you want to ace your next interview on Spring Boot, or if you want to better use Spring Boot to your advantage, please feel free to hit the subscribe button for me and turn the bell next to it so that you don't miss out any one of my weekly posts. Now without further ado, let's jump on to today's topic. So here I have already opened a sample project for today's demo in my IntelliJ. And as always, I have a main class which is annotated with Spring Boot application annotation. So if you don't know what this annotation does, make sure you check the linked videos which will talk about what this annotation really does. And if we take a look at the POM XML, it's just a very standard Spring Boot application which has a Spring Boot starter web dependency and Spring Boot starter task dependency. So really nothing much. Now the first thing I want to do today is to create two controllers. So one controller, I will call it product controller, which simply is going to be annotated by REST controller annotation. Then I'm going to have a method which returns a list of products. So call it get products. Then here I'm just going to do final list of string, then products, the new array list, then products.add hammer, products.add drill, products.add dryer. Okay. Then I'm going to return this product, and also we need to annotate this method with get mapping, and the mapping is just going to be products. Then we're going to create another controller. I'm just going to call it user controller. Then we're going to do sort of the same thing here. We're going to annotate the class with REST controller annotation. Then we're going to create a method which will return a list of users. So get users. Then here we're going to do final list of string users, new array list, then users.add Jasper, users.add Mike, users.add Doris. Then we're going to return this user. And again, we need to annotate this method with get mapping. And the mapping is just gonna simply be /users. Okay, so now we have two controllers, which are super simple. Then we're gonna create our first interceptor, which is the general purpose interceptor that will intercept both requests no matter it goes to product controller or user controller. Okay, so we're gonna call this new interceptor general purpose interceptor. So let's correct the interceptor name because I missed an R here. Okay. And this, we need to implement the handler interceptor interface, okay? And here, we need to override a few methods: pre-handle, post-handle, and after completion, okay? So what is pre-handle? So pre-handle happens before a request reaches a handler, and a handler in this context is simply a controller, so which is either product controller or user controller. And post-handle happens after the controller has already served the request, then the post-handle will come into picture. Now, if your controller also renders a view like a JSP view, then after completion will come into picture after view is rendered, meaning after the model is already injected into the view, then after completion will come into picture. And the pre-handle method, if you return false, then the interceptor will be the last stop of the request handling chain, meaning none of the controller will handle this request. This interceptor itself will handle the request. So here, I'm not gonna write any complex logic, just gonna put some log statements just to show you the idea of it. So here I would do final logger, then logger factory dot get logger general purpose interceptor dot class. And here we'll write log dot info in pre-handle method of general purpose interceptor. And here we're gonna change this to true, so the request will populate it to our controller, no matter it's product controller or user controller, to get handled. Then we're gonna do similar thing for post handle and after completion. So here we'll do in post handle method of general purpose interceptor, and here we'll do in after completion method of general purpose interceptor. Now, if we don't do anything right now, and if we just simply start our application and try to hit one of the controller, let's see what we get in our log. So here I will do products, we get response, and let's go back to IntelliJ and we have no new log. And how about we hit users? Again, we have response, but we have no new logs. That's fine. Now let's stop this application and let's try to register this interceptor, general purpose interceptor, in the Spring application context. So we go to our main class, which is annotated with the SpringBoot application, or any configuration class that you have. Or, a better way may be, let's just create a new configuration so that we can separate web configuration from this main configuration. I'm just gonna call it a web configuration. Then we need to implement another interface, which is called the Web MVC Configurer, and we need to mark this as configuration. And then we need to override one of the methods, which is the addInterceptors method. And here we need to register our interceptor in this registry. So this is how you do it: registry.addInterceptor. Then we will initialize a new instance of the general purpose interceptor. Now let's run our application again, see what do we get this time. So the application is started. Let's head back to browser and refresh this page. Again, we get a response full. Then we go back to our IntelliJ, and now you can see there are 3 new logs, right? In pre-handle method of general purpose interceptor, in post-handle method of general purpose interceptor, in after completion method of general purpose interceptor. So interceptor did kick in. How about we go to the other URL, which is products. And again, we have a response, and let's go back to our IntelliJ, and we have another 3 new logs, right? Which means this interceptor, general purpose interceptor, it indeed intercepts request no matter it goes to product controller or user controller. Next, I'm gonna show you how to create a single purpose interceptor, which only intercepts on request that goes to product controller, but not goes to user controller. So here we'll create another new interceptor. We call it single purpose interceptor. And here again, we need to implement handler interceptor interface. Then we need to override 3 methods: pre-handle, post-handle, and after completion. And we now need to create a new logger, because I just wanted to simply put a simple log statement here to show you idea. So we'll do private final logger, then log, then logger factory dot get logger single purpose interceptor.class. Then here we'll simply put log.info in pre-handle method of single purpose interceptor, and we'll change this to true so that the request goes to controller to be handled. Otherwise, the request will be handled here and it will be returned back to the client. Now let's add another statement. Here we'll say in post-handle method of single-purpose interceptor. And here we'll add another log statement. We'll say in after completion method of single-purpose interceptor. And we now need to go back to web configuration and add that interceptor in. And the way we do that is we're gonna go to the next line. We'll do registry.addInterceptor, then new single purpose interceptor. And after this, we don't add semicolon yet. We will do add path pattern. Here, I will specify the pattern. So we'll do /product/start. Now, let's restart the application and see what do we get this time. So now let's go back to browser and let's just refresh this page. So now we have the response full, and let's go back to our IntelliJ, and we can see that here we have general purpose interceptor, post handle general purpose interceptor, but wait, we don't have the single purpose interceptor. So what happened? So let's remove this and then rerun this application again and refresh this page. So now we get the single purpose interceptor log here as well. As you can see, pre-handle general purpose interceptor, pre-handle single purpose interceptor. And the reason why general purpose interceptor comes before single purpose interceptor is because it is defined in this order. We first registered general purpose interceptor, and then we registered a single purpose interceptor. However, if you want to override this order, there's another handy method, which is order method, which you can specify an order. And if you want to give it a higher precedence, you're gonna mark this, for example, order 1. Then here you will do something like order 2. Then it will kick in order that you define here. Now let's delete this. The reason why it doesn't work the first time, I think if we try double start, it will work. So now it works. I think the reason why the first time when we did this wildcard, it didn't work because I used a single start, which means 0 or 1 characters. But if I use double star, this time it should work because this means it doesn't care what is after this, but as long as the previous part is /products, it will put a match, which means even if your URL is something like product/product code or product/something, it will all be recognized. So let's give it a try, see if this solves our problem. So let's refresh this. Then see what we get this time. Let's go back to the browser and refresh this page. So in the log, you can see that both interceptors kick in. And if we now go hit users endpoint, as you can see, it only got the general purpose interceptor kicked in, but didn't get the single purpose interceptor kicked in. So this is the way to register a general purpose interceptor and a single purpose interceptor, which is quite easy. And then some of you may wonder, so all of this looks really like filter. So how do you choose when to use a filter and how do you choose when to use an interceptor? Well, I think an answer is pretty simple because filter is invoked by your servlet container, whereas handler interceptor is only a concept in Spring. So if you don't use Spring, you cannot use handler interceptor because it doesn't exist. But if you don't use Spring, you can still use filter because your servlet container will invoke a filter for you. And another reason when you want to use the interceptor when you use Spring is if you go back to any of the interceptor, you see that the message signature basically allows you get a hand of the handler, which is the controller that will handle the request. So this can come into handy if you want to do something to the handler or if you wanted to use the handler to do something. So I think the rule of thumb in Spring Boot application is to always interceptor over filter, even though both can do the same thing, but interceptor obviously is more powerful, gives you more flexibility. So with today's video, I really hope you now know how to create a general purpose interceptor which intercept on all sorts of requests, and also you understand how to create a single purpose interceptor which intercept on specific requests matching certain URL pattern. And the last but not least, you now understand when to choose between the filter and when to choose to use interceptor. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop me a comment in the comment section below, and I will definitely get back to you. And if you have no questions, then maybe just share with us how has this video helped you to overcome the obstacle that you face right now. So that's it for this week. If you like this video, give this video a like, and make sure that you hit the subscribe button and turn the bell next to it so that you don't miss out any one of my new weekly posts. Now, I will see you guys next week. Bye for now.